G'day guys, MrAusAdventure here. What I want to talk to you about today is something that regularly pisses me off. It shits me to no end. What I want to talk about, sort of leading on from my other vlog about the oil. If you haven't seen that video yet, go back and see that here. So moving forward, this one's all about why things cost so much in Australia and the fact that people are always whinging about it. Aussies are always fucking complaining about the high prices that retailers charge in Australia, but they've got no bloody idea what goes into making up those prices. A lot of consumers just look online, they see the prices of things in the US, and then they go, oh shit, the Aussie retailers are fucking ripping us off because it's twice as much for some products in Australia as it is the US. We don't have the same economy that the US has. Do you want to fucking go and earn, you know, $10 an hour or something, like what they're earning over there? I don't know what the minimum wage in the US is, but I can put that up here. And I can also put up the minimum wage in Australia right here. We are two totally different economies. Oh, fucking hell, everyone's out today. Everything is cheaper in the US. We're not just talking about electrical items that people want to purchase online. Everything. The price of housing, cars, fuel. Everything is completely different in other countries than it is here in Australia, and there are lots of different factors that make up those different costings, but that's one reason why things cost more here in Australia. Here's another reason. At the moment the Aussie dollar is, well, last time I looked it was sitting around 75 cents, which makes it bloody hard to survive as an Australian retailer when you're importing. Even when the dollar was on par with each other, you know, one Aussie dollar was buying one US dollar. It was exactly the same. People were still up in arms then about why things were costing more, and they were putting it back on the retailer, saying that they were ripping the consumer off. Well, no, not the case. So, as I explained a little bit in the last video, when the Aussie dollar is high and the US dollar is low, the price of oil is high. So what happens when the price of oil is high? Transportation costs go up because the cost of fuel is high. So the price to get things here to Australia costs more. And that's not the only reason why things cost more here in Australia. Here's another one. Australia, when you look at it, is one country with a huge area with a small population. So to begin with, it costs a fortune to transport things around Australia and distribute them from the ports to the distributors, retailers, wholesalers, everyone else that's in the line. Our network of rails, trucks, everything like that is nowhere near, has nothing on what they have over in the US and even Europe. We just can't compete. We don't have the population, and we're too widespread. There's just too much land, too little people, too little towns. There's nothing in between. So everything is going to cost a lot because you don't have that economy of scale in Australia that you have in Europe and the US and in Asian countries. So talking about the economy of scale, that also comes into play when you're talking about getting things here to Australia in the first place. We don't have the buying power here in Australia that the retailers in the US or in Asia or Europe have. We can't buy in the same bulk quantities that a country like the US can. So all that comes into play as to why things are more expensive here, because if you're buying, say, $1 billion worth of stock, you're going to get a better rate than if you're only buying $1 million worth of stock. It's just obvious. So that economy of scale goes all the way down to the line, all the way down the line to like the retailer. And if you go in off the street and you go, oh, this item costs $10, but if I buy 50 of them, can you give it to me for $7? And the retailer will go, Yeah, shit, yeah, that's a big sale, I'll do that. So these reasons are why things just cost way more here in Australia than they do the US. Retailers here fucking struggle, believe me. I'm a retailer, I'm an importer, and it's fucking hard to make a dollar. People have no idea how much it costs to get things into Australia. The fees, customs duties, everything like that is incredible. Some container loads that we get in, we're paying $20,000 in taxes and fees. $20,000 in taxes and fees that you have to put into the product. You've got to put that into the product. You can't absorb it. There's no fucking possible way that you can. And so if we have to do that, every other Australian retailer has to do the same. Every other Australian importer's got to do the same. They've got to pump up the price and absorb it. It's got to be absorbed. It just has to be. Australian customs are one of the hardest customs in the world to deal with. They're one of the tightest, most stringent customs in the whole bloody world. You know, we've had stuff come in that we've had the okay to import it in, going, yep, no worries, bring that in. It's about 2 months later by the time you get around to having it land at the docks, and then they go, oh no, this isn't allowed anymore, there's been a change in regulation. So then they charge you storage fees to hold on to your container or your pallet or whatever. They charge you destruction fees, fees for this, fees for that, fees for this, and you've paid for the product and it's just gone in the fucking bin, and you've had to pay for them to store it in the fucking bin and pay for them to destroy the product, which is a piss off. There's just thousands of dollars going down the fucking drain for nothing, just because some fucking white-collared arsehole has changed the law. Bullshit. Electrical equipment. We import electrical equipment. Have you got any idea how much it costs to get Australian certification on electrical equipment? Like, for example, a food dehydrator that we import. $12,000, people. $12,000. It costs to get certification on it so it can be sold in Australia legally. What the fuck do you do with that? You've got to absorb it. It's got to be absorbed by the product. It has to be. You know, you can absorb it over a long period of time and just go, okay, we'll write that off over a year or two. But it's got to go into the product. Everything like that has to go into the product. So yeah, that's just some of the reasons why things cost more here in Australia. I hope now that you've heard all that you guys here in Australia can stop complaining a little bit about the high price of things here and just start supporting the Aussie retailers a little bit. Yes, I do tend to buy some stuff from the US, but generally I will pay a little bit more and buy it from a retailer here in Australia. I prefer to support the Australian retailer, the Australian importers, because I know how hard it is, because that's me, I am one. And you know, if I was going to go and not support them and buy overseas the same thing I could buy here from a local guy, then I would be sort of contradicting the things I always tell the customers that ring up complaining about how much things cost and why. You know, we get emails all the time. Why does this cost so much here? They're always just ranting and raving about the price of things here and why we are charging this much when it costs this much in the US. And sometimes it gets that bad, you just got to have a standard email and just go, bink, paste the email in there and email that back to them, because it's the same story. People just don't realise, they have no bloody idea how much money it costs to get things here and why. So that's one reason why I wanted to make this. Not only because I see guys posting things on Facebook, how much things cost here in terms of camera equipment, motorcycle gear, rah rah rah, but we also get it at work. People ringing up or emailing and complaining about why we're charging so much. But what they don't think of is that when you buy something from the US or anywhere else overseas, you don't have a warranty. You're not going to have a warranty that's going to be supported by an Australian distributor. When the shit hits the fan and their equipment breaks down, and they ring us up or email us and go, oh, you know, can you fix this? You know, it's still under warranty. Oh, where'd you buy it from? Oh, you know, I bought it from eBay. I bought it online. Well, too bad. Sorry. We can fix it for you, but there's going to be a charge. You're going to have to pay to get it to us, and you're going to have to pay to get it back to yourself, and you're going to have to pay labour and parts prices. That's all there is to it. You've got no warranty. If you want a warranty, you've got to buy from an Australian importer, distributor, retailer, wholesaler, whatever. You've got to go through that to get the warranty. That is another reason why you're going to pay more in Australia, because we've got to honour that warranty. We've got to factor all that into the cost of the product. Go, okay, well, we may get a certain amount of these come back for warranty. You know, let's account for that a little bit, and that all goes into the margin. It's not all just purely profit. It's not all fucking feeding our pockets and making us fat, wealthy fucking businessmen. It's not like that. The reality is there are so many charges that go into making up the price of a product here in Australia. I just hope this enlightens you a little bit more, and you can now see that we are not ripping you off. There are genuine reasons for why things cost more here in Australia. So get out there, guys, support the Aussie retailer, support the Aussies, and buy locally. Pay a little bit more, but it's worth it in the long run. Thanks, guys. Hope you got something out of that little rant and you've learned something today. I'll see you next time. Ride safe and enjoy.